How's it going? Welcome back, my wonderful wise ones, to another fantastic video. I hope you're doing well, and I hope everyone is just, getting by and, yeah, having a good day as much as possible. So today is a video that I don't really normally like to make. It's something that I try and stay clear from, as I don't like discussing politics on my channel. I also believe in this modern day culture that political conversations don't usually serve a benefit. They don't usually um, have any good outcomes. And I say this because I've been around on YouTube for a while, and you can clearly see just how many grifters there are on this platform, placating to either one tribal group or the other tribal group. They're both as bad as each other, and I refuse to be a part of that. I think it's very disgusting. I think, it's the highlight of consumer culture that we are living in. That morality, it just gets thrown out the window because people are chasing a bag.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
The channels that just call everything woke just because it, maybe has a female protagonist in it. So it's gotten to a point of just insanity. And it's the same with the other side, people pretending that communism is good while enjoying all the benefits of, a capitalist lifestyle. So it's just hypocritical and disgusting. That's why I refuse to be a part of it.
What?
I also believe that modern day politics has become so tribalized and atomized thanks to modern day technologies and social media. It's become more so about group identity, as with the death of religion, the death of anything that unifies culture today. People are looking for somewhere to belong. That's why so many people get invested in politics. And I'm of the personal opinion that I don't think we can actually change or unify people, get some middle ground until we deconstruct the ideologies underpinning these politics. That's why philosophy to me is the most important, because until we evaluate our morality as a culture, our values, and unify as a culture, realigning the way we think, the metaphysical ideas that we all have into something better, until we unify our ideas and our values and our moral ethics into something that we can all agree is a moral good, I think that it's just going to get worse and worse. And that is what I try and aim to do on my channel, as I am creating my own philosophy called Solism. But I'm not here to talk about that today. I just wanted to give you a little bit of context as to why you don't see politics on this channel, because I just think it's mostly bullshit.
Let him cook! Let him cook now! Let him cook! I said let him! You're goddamn right.
So the aim of this video is to talk about Ghost of Yotei, but right now it's impossible to talk about this game because of what's happened recently with Charlie Kirk, and I personally have been affected by it. I have kind of briefly mentioned it in a few videos recently, because it's just so sad what happened. You could tell that he was a good man. He believed in what he was saying. He was trying to help people, realign their values. Everything that I think is good, he was trying to do. And I'm not saying I, follow him on absolutely everything that he says, politically, but I can see that he was a good man, and I respected what he did a lot. And I didn't really watch much of his content. I only saw some of it. After the assassination, I've kind of gone back to see what he was all about, and honestly, all I can say was he seemed like a honestly good individual. And what's happened is just disgusting, and if anyone is celebrating what happened, I think they are morally bankrupt. Who knows why they are the way they are, but this is what happens with group mentality and group think, and this is why I think group think is so dangerous, because it creates these people that think violence is okay. Violence is never okay, especially political violence. It's never okay, and that's my stance. I just wanted to make that clear, because I want to talk about Ghost of Yotei. This channel is primarily around game reviews and game discussion, gaming analysis, and philosophical content surrounding games and outside of gaming. that's what I like to focus on. So to make my points clear, I'm not going to tell you exactly my politics, okay? But, you know, I think he was a good man, and I think what he said was benefiting society for the most part. And anyone who thinks that speech and freedom of debate, conversations, is a threat that needs to be taken out by violence, these people are insane, okay? These people have lost their collective minds. Discourse, conversations, debate is the most important thing in our society. Socrates knew this, and Socrates was also put to death for questioning people, for, you know, trying to just go deeper, because most people don't examine their lives. Most people don't want to even think, and this is why culture today is lost. And the fact that Charlie Kirk was just someone trying to ask questions, trying to have civil conversations, and what happened to him is just so sad, and it's wrong. I think people are rightfully upset because people who are celebrating this, it just shows that they have zero morality. And I understand why some people, you know, want to boycott Ghost of Yotei now because of this. So if you're not aware, basically with all that context, some of the developers and the voice actor working on this game have basically made their politics known to the public. And like I said, it's very stupid why people do this. When you're creating an art, I always think the artist and the art should be separate. You know, there should be some overlap, of course, but it should be able to speak for itself. That's how you know it's transformative, good art that will last, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years. I hope that my music can be looked at and enjoyed without necessarily enjoying who I am as a person or my beliefs. You know, I think that's very important. But nowadays, everyone on social media have just lost their collective mind because we're just not ready for this type of technology. We don't know how to utilize it properly. If you are interested in my deeper beliefs around, you know, the world right now and modern day society, please do check my philosophy playlist. There's a whole playlist on my homepage. If you're just watching the gaming stuff, the hedonism video I made kind of highlights modern society and how everyone has fallen victim to tribal thinking, slave morality, and all that kind of stuff. And I am, like I said, trying to combat this, creating my own philosophy, which is a work in progress.
It may seem difficult at first, but everything is difficult at first. You may abandon your own body, but you must preserve your honor.
So this is a strange video for me to make because it's a weird crossover between my philosophy and, you know, the gaming stuff. But sometimes, you know, they do meet in the middle. So I just think it's very stupid that these people are, you know, first of all, showing their political beliefs when they are representing a company, when they're representing an art form. This game should not have any, you know, relations to modern day politics or modern day anything, okay? It should be a transformative art. A video game should be focusing on the fiction itself. That's what I believe personally. I don't think we need to constantly draw, you know, modern day parallels to the fictions that we create. Obviously there are, you know, sometimes obviously that's needed, but if you're making a historic Japanese samurai game, I don't think it's necessary. So basically, the voice actor of Ghost of Yotei has said on Twitter, or whatever the hell it's called these days, that they are Antifa. Yes, so they are literally saying that they value and identify with a terrorist group, which of course is not a good thing, and it looks very bad for them. Now, as I mentioned, there are always two sides of this story. You know, some people think it was absolutely ridiculous that Hogwarts Legacy was trying to be boycotted and cancelled. I was one of them because I think standing by, scientific beliefs is not morally wrong, but a lot of people weren't happy with Hogwarts Legacy being cancelled. And now the other side is upset. Do I think cancel culture is ever good? No, not exactly, because I think freedom of expression is important, but at the same time, this isn't just freedom of expression, this is encouraging political violence, which is, of course, wrong. So I don't know where you guys stand on this, but I do think it's important to call attention to it, because a lot of people now are not interested in this game whatsoever, with the voice actors saying that they support Antifa, and then some of the art directors, the people working on this game, the developers, saying these horrible things about Charlie Kirk, which is disgusting. That is why people are upset and no one wants to play this game anymore. There's been mass boycotts about this game, and like I said, I think it is reasonable, I think it is fair, because it's up to the consumer if they want to support this game or not. And I do think that, there's tons of people who worked on this game, from the animators, from the music producer, from, the sound designers. Not all of these people we can say are bad people, and there is obviously a lot of artistry in this game, as you can see, and the first game, Ghost of Tsushima, is such a masterpiece. But honestly, it's up to the people if they don't want to support this game. Now, before I go further into talking about Ghost of Yotei and the Ghost of Yotei reviews and what the situation will be for the Ghost of Yotei review videos, and my own personal Ghost of Yotei review, what am I going to do about it, I simply do ask that you subscribe to the channel if you are new here. It would mean a great deal to me, as I am passionate about creating a community of intellectual gamers, people who can think objectively, and people who value wisdom and virtue, and all of that good stuff. Subscribe to the channel, become a wise one if you love game reviews and analysis and philosophical content. It does mean a great deal. So the reason why I'm doing this Ghost of Yotei reviews overview, usually I do this for big games that I'm interested in, and I talk about, the wider discussion around the game. Obviously the main discussion around this game right now is the controversy surrounding Ghost of Yotei and the Ghost of Yotei drama. That's why that is the main point. I will quickly just mention a few things about the game as well at the end of the video. But what I'm going to do with my Ghost of Yotei review is I'm going to have this video here, so for people who want, to look at both sides of things, they can come to this video and make up their mind. But I will be talking about the game purely as the game, just the game itself, in my review, and I will call back to this video for people who want to understand why people are upset, and I think it is justified that they are upset. There was a lot of time and money put into this game, and they've, ruined it because of a few individuals. But you can't really feel sorry for them. This was their fault for hiring these people to begin with. So there's been no official statement or anything about the voice actress as far as I've seen so far, and I believe that is what has been said publicly, from some of the people working for, Ghost of Yotei and stuff like that. So honestly, I don't think that this game is going to sell well now, and honestly, to me, as a game, it doesn't look as interesting as Ghost of Tsushima, okay? And I will just mention a few points as to why that is for me, and that is mostly because they've got rid of the stances. They've opted for weapon switching, and each weapon has its own set of animation and kind of stance, but I like the fact that you could always switch between different stances. It made it feel very tactical. Also, they've gone for a less realistic, historic kind of game this time around, and I'm not as interested in the story or the period that it is set in compared to Ghost of Tsushima. And I will probably talk about that if I do decide to make my Ghost of Yotei review, but I just thought I would talk about this today because it's very upsetting, and I just thought it would be a good chance to talk about what's happened recently and how we all need to be unified as a culture and need to come together and understand that we are all human beings, and everyone has different perspectives, but it doesn't mean that anyone deserves to be killed over their beliefs or their perspectives. And we just need to learn to accept each other, that we are different, and to actually have nuanced conversations to come closer to understanding how we can live together in this world. And people like this are obviously, insane. Now, this might make you not trust AAA games, okay? And I can understand that. But luckily, thanks to today's sponsor, Xmod, okay, you can still find games that you love and actually make them better, make them more personal to you thanks to mods and trainers. Xmod is a platform that unlocks thousands of free cheats, mods, and trainers for your favorite single-player PC games. Now, I've always felt that games are like a canvas, and mods are the paintbrush. They basically allow you to create your own unique experience, and that's why I love modding so much. Now, the main features of Xmod is it supports over 5,000 PC games, from massive AAA games to smaller indie titles. It works well with popular games like The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, Cyberpunk 2077, or Skyrim or Fallout, you name it, it has you covered. With regular updates, it stays compatible with brand new games releasing day one. Now, I have some great news for you, my wise ones, because Dying Light the Beast is now available on Xmod. So thanks to Xmod, you can now customize Dying Light the Beast to make it the ultimate zombie survival game. So you can add trainers, from editing the money stats, infinite health, infinite stamina, but the one I love using the most is entering beast mode whenever I feel like it to maximize the carnage. But perhaps you want to go deeper, so simply switching over to the mod tools, you can easily one-click download all of these amazing mods that just make the game so much better, from adding better FPS, easy lockpicking. Nothing is off limits, so if you want to change the look and style of the game, you can do that with this mod. Natural lighting, visuals, increased FOV. You can, basically remove features or unlock the game to its full potential. So what are you waiting for? Get modding today by using Xmod. Link below in the description. Make sure you go check it out and enjoy the games at their full potential with Xmod. So I'm going to have a quick look at this statement that was issued, okay? So in a statement to Kotaku, a Sony spokesman confirmed that Harrison is no longer employed at Ghost of Yotei. Now, this Harrison person is the one who said all of this horrible stuff about Charlie Cook, and yeah, it was very disgusting what they said. This statement follows a number of now deleted posts from Harrison where she stated the following: if standing up against fascism, and Jesus, anyone who usually uses the term fascism is in fact a fascist, okay? So there you go. These people are completely deluded and they are out of touch with reality. That is the biggest problem right now. But this is what they said: if standing up against fascism is what cost me my dream job I held for 10 years, exactly, this was their dream job, but yet they were stupid enough and they felt comfortable enough in this environment to post this stuff. That's the scary thing. I would do it all over. I would do it again 100 times stronger. Harrison declined to comment when reached out to, okay? So it took me a while to find, but I do believe that this is the quote that now Sucker Punch, or, the people working on Ghost of Yotei have now issued. So Drew's no longer an employee here. I think we're aligned as a studio that celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us, and we condemn that. Kind of in no uncertain terms. That's sort of our studio. And that's kind of where we are. I wouldn't say that was the best apology, and they were using kind of loose language, which is kind of upsetting, to be honest. And I think probably a lot of these people working at these companies might hold similar opinions, and that is the scary thing. That is why a lot of people just don't trust AAA games anymore. But then there is the grifters taking it to the extreme, calling everything woke, that everything is, just some kind of twisted ideology, when actually that's just not the case. There are channels out there that know that there's outrage and they try and capitalize on it. So that's why I hate political conversations. But when you see stuff like this, it's very clear, transparent hatred, and that is why a lot of people are condoning these big studios and big gaming outlets and companies, and I think it's honestly fair enough. But honestly, the most upsetting thing for me is just how people can even, say stuff like this, how people can be so cold and have no empathy. And we've seen this throughout history, through religious warfare, different ideologies, and the West is crumbling, and I think it's time that we do something about it. So thank you for watching, my wise ones. It does mean a great deal that you are here and you are a part of my community. Please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Please try and be respectful and, try and view things objectively without your emotions getting in the way, and just have constructive conversations, please, down below. But yeah, it's just a very sad time, and it just highlights what's wrong with the modern day gaming industry right now, where we can't separate the art from the artist, and where people have become so brainwashed by certain ideologies that they literally destroy, $1 million game like this. It's quite astonishing. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.